vaccine clinic.
So I think we're unmuted. Can people on Zoom hear us?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, you joined us here. All right, well, Sue, it's a little past 12, so if you want to.
Yeah,
take the lead.
I would call the meeting to order. And first order of business is a review of the minutes of March 19th.
Oh, first let me do a roll call.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm looking at roll call and reading the next item. This
It's all
is
right.
typical.
All right, I'll do a roll call. Look, Karen.
Yes, yeah, I'm here from Arizona.
Fine.
Yeah,
Let's see Becky has. Sue.
Here.
Nancy.
Here.
Yeah.
Here.
We do, oh, and Brianna, which,
Here.
and Brianna also on Zoom, good. But how's quarantine going?
As best as it can.
oh,
Shoot.
So Becky is. Hopefully Becky can join us. I did have an email from her the other day. So. All right, so, sorry, we have one.
All right. Reviewing the minutes of the meeting of March 19th, are there any comments or corrections?
Nope, I approved them several weeks ago now, but I didn't see anything that needed any correction. So-
I didn't. Would you like a motion? Yes, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made, second it.
All in favor?
yes,
Oh,
Aye.
sorry, we do roll call.
Roll call, Karen says yes.
yes,
So, those are here.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
it's a little awkward.
A little off.
Remember.
So, let's. Did you support that one? Nancy?
I did.
Mhm.
All right. Sweet, move on.
Victor, do you want someone else to
Do you want
take
me to take notes?
minutes?
No, I can do it.
Can you?
No, yes.
Okay,
And I'll go back and listen to the video.
Okay,
I can
all
do
right,
it.
okay.
Anyone from the board have maybe want to share with us?
No?
Haven't heard anything from folks.
Public comment, we do have a John on Zoom. Who
Is it John Neal?
usually says John.
I did notice that the tree was down on Lake Street for the new house.
Oh, yeah.
They put their driveway in, so I just,
Becky did call me also. as well.
Okay,
She was
yeah,
right there.
yeah.
So she saw it.
yeah, I saw that it had come down.
Hi, this is Becky. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay, good, let her hear. so-
Hey, Becky. Becky.
hey, Becky,
Public comment, does the person named John who's on the Zoom call have anything to bring to the board?
I do not, thank you.
Oh, business, all right, so Ben said he'd be joining us by Zoom. I don't see him on here. But I'll get started with the first, which is doing the tree request. So last meeting, we had discussed potential planting locations for the donated trees, 8 donated tree donations, I guess we would call them, that we received. And we talked about Ann Street, Lake Street, and Layton Park, a little bit on State Street. And talking with Ben, we figured, Ann Street and Layton Park had some of the best opportunity. There were trees on State Street as well as Lake Street, and there's some more concerns with those areas about trying to, put trees where we've already had trees fail, so we have to, maybe think more about those locations before we plant there. But Layton Park, I kind of went over and looked at a bunch of different locations at Layton Park, and Ben said he was gonna finalize the list too, so. If you look, I mean, this is just these sloppy X's that we use in graphics on the computer. But, if you look at the overview, I have these circle dots of where you can see from the GIS, essentially where there's a lot of open space. The problem, I'll go back to the one above, is our right of way there, as you notice, it's used to the north and to the east. So we have less room on the western side of the street, more room on the eastern side of the street. Same thing on the northern side. We have more room on the northern side and less room on the southern side. So that makes it really difficult to look at the southern portions of the western portions. As you notice how close these property lines are to the road. So we have less room on those sides, but we have more room, a lot more room on the northern sides and the western side, eastern side, sorry. And I confirmed this with Lucas, and he says, yes, that area has been skewed. And not just the map is not just skewed, the actual location of the right of way is skewed there. So I determined, I use the northern and the eastern portions of the roads just so we can avoid any potential private property issues. Looking at this map, I saw, and Ben's going to confirm and maybe take this other as an issue with those spots, but or if there are better spots there, but you'll notice that there's spots, plenty of spots for trees to go. I try to distribute them evenly in the Layton Park area. One here on Ann Street, we could put one up in this direction. Maybe potentially also could put some down here near Clark Street. On Clark Street itself, I mean, it's pretty sparse for these few blocks here. There's hardly anything. And same thing with Perry Street, again, these two blocks, there's maybe one or two trees. Fairview Street, again, pretty sparse on the side. So that was my way of scattering them through Layton Park as well as Ann Street. And of course, Ben will give a more detailed look at finalized plan. But I think this is a good location. My one concern, only real concern is, it is our right of way, but do we tell the neighbors beforehand we're putting a tree in front of your house, even though it's our land? I mean, it's one of those things I struggle with because yes, it's our right of way. Let's just put a tree there if we want to. But they've never had a city come and put trees. I mean, they're used to it on Main Street and State Street and downtown. But
Do we write a letter to the neighborhood as a whole?
it's potential, but I don't know.
I think it's a nice courtesy to tell the people, but make it be like a good newsletter. We're
Yeah.
happy to inform you that,
Yeah,
and then that way we can also, are we going to put tree gators with them? We were talking about that.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, so we could say, with the new tree, we will be putting a tree gator around it and
or a self-irrigating system, because people who aren't in the business may or may not know what a gator bed
yes,
is.
good point. Yep. But then, could we please have your help in filling it up periodically? Maybe?
Keep an eye on it, let us know if something happens. I mean, just invite them into the process.
Yeah, let them know they're not required to, but if they can.
So then, you know what's possibly going to come up as well. I want this kind of tree, or
You know what I think too, we need to, this is a suggestion. I would let the people whose house you're putting in front of know before.
Mhm.
I would write the other letter of, please notice the new trees in your neighborhood after the fact. Because otherwise you're gonna get some people that'll say, well, no, I want a tree.
Yeah.
And I want a tree, why did you pick their house instead of mine? Whereas if we just let the people know where we're planting them and say, your
these
right of way
yeah,
has been
these-
chosen as a good spot for a
by the
donated
why
tree.
don't we say by the arborist? And then that way
Yes.
we have
Yeah,
a professional.
Yes,
And then I guess if someone really had an issue with it, we could.
Victor, my question on this is, these are not high traffic areas. And so I'm curious why this was selected as the place, because I know we've talked about the need for more trees on Lake Street and maybe closer into the main business district. So how was it that this part of town was selected for the donator trees?
So the reason this one was selected was with Ben and the tree board for some time now, we've been talking about historically distributing our tree canopy throughout the entire city and not just focusing on one area. Layton Park area was an often neglected area when it comes to a lot of different city planning. And so trees, we never considered planting trees there before, and I think we decided that we need to have a canopy that's evenly spread across the community, and we didn't want to neglect any parks. A lot of downtown and south of the bluff have often been the focus of tree plantings and other city services. And I think we kind of talked about, we wanted to explore increasing the canopy in other areas.
Mhm.
I would say also, Karen, that maybe our next effort, our next trees we get, I think Ann Street would be a good spot. They're really entertaining.
Down further, I mean,
Yeah.
not the, but on the
and,
other side of
between,
Lake.
like, let's say Lake and.
Okay, the
Bluff.
other side.
South of Lake, yeah.
Yeah.
South of
I
Lake. So these are donated trees, so will the people that donated the trees know where the tree's gonna end up then? Is there a process we use to notify them?
We let them know that, no, we don't tell them what location their tree is typically. What we do is, we have started a working Excel sheet that we know for each donated tree where we plant it, so we have a record of it. But the idea is not to give a specific tree to a specific person because of some concerns we had about the tree dies, et cetera.
Right.
What we do is let them know that a tree has been planted, and if they want to explore that further, let us know. We'll just say, hey, yeah, we planted on Ann Street. But we normally just send them a letter thanking them and put an article in the Harbor Light, thanking them for the donation.
I think it'd be nice to let them know where the tree is. I mean, if I donate a tree, I might like to know where it is. Because I might want to go see the tree, visit the tree.
You know, Karen, the drawback with that, we talked a lot about this because there are people who ask us, but the drawback is that if you let individuals connect their donation with an individual tree, then if that tree develops problems,
Mhm.
it somehow becomes a personal matter with them. And
Right,
we don't want that. They're donating to the city forest, and the city forest is growing, and that's kind of what they're donating to. It's
Mhm.
that's where
So they-
what we've.
all right. So they didn't have the understanding they would know where the tree was when they donated it then.
That's correct.
That's right.
That's
Okay.
part of
Okay. All right.
I'm really excited that we're doing something up there. I think that I'm overdue to be doing some things up there.
Back when I was in school, when people said things like this in public, which they shouldn't, that part of town was one of the areas known as Indian Town. It's one of the neighborhoods in the city that has had the least, I mean, there's a reason that it didn't used to have much attention, and it's not on a rapid path to gentrification right now, but it is definitely part of the city, and we want those people to be engaged and feel like they pay taxes for a good reason as well.
Right.
I understand why we're choosing this area, and I also understand the city has a right of way on these properties. But as a homeowner in this area, I would like to have some say because it is not as distinct as the rest of town where you have a median with a tree and the sidewalk and then the property. Like, if we want to plant trees here, I would rather say to these folks, hey, we have 15 trees to plant on the city right away. First 15 people who request one will get one, or whatever the situation is, because I just would not be happy. I mean, I think we're counterproductive in some cases to like plant a tree on the corner of Ann and whatever that is up there when that's an open area, and maybe they want that to be an open area. I mean, I get we have the right to do it. I'm just don't think it's maybe the most politically correct in creating community good feelings.
Do you think that people wouldn't be happy to have a tree? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, there's the right of way on these properties is relatively small. And as these trees grow, I just know the tree in front of my house, which is a city tree, is very poorly maintained. And if you go drop a tree in here and then 15 or 20 years from now it needs things trimmed, or you come and trim it to a great extent, or I don't usually have to rake leaves and now I do. I mean, I just think there's a lot of issues. And I get that we have the right to do it. I just think I would rather have people say, hey, yeah, I'd really love to have a city tree at the edge of my property.
Yeah.
Well, if we go down that path, that sets us open for a lot, anything the city does in any of our right of way. And it sets a standard then every single time we do anything in any of our right of ways, that we have to consult with the neighborhood. When we have these open meetings. for
And I-
people to attend,
And I get
Yeah,
that. I just know that the tree in front of my house is truly an eyesore. And every year I think it's gonna get better, and it's just like a stick. It is like a 20-foot tall stick in front of my house. And if I had the option, like that tree would not be there.
You do have the option, you can make a vegetation management request to the city.
Yeah,
To remove it. So, there are options to homeowners. I get what you're saying, Becky, I just think that's a cumbersome process to put staff through and the city through, for its own property. When we don't require neighbors, ask their neighbors if they want to plant a tree on their own property. I don't think it's fair to staff in the city to expend those kind of resources with that. However, we do have this process for them to come to these board meetings to talk about this, or to submit their comments, so in the creation of the policy.
And if we sent a letter to the homeowner beforehand, if we decided to do that and someone was really opposed to it, really didn't want it to happen, I would think we would be open to at least listening to that and maybe moving it over a lot or something.
There's another space that that's fine.
Yeah, if somebody really felt strongly they didn't want that. But to open it up and ask which people want it, then if you get 40 people that want it, how do you make the choice? And
What if you get no one that wants it, but we still have a goal of
yeah,
putting canopy. in the city?
So here's another idea is what if we didn't go so all in on Layton Park and let's just try a few locations and see how the reaction is, or try 4, put 4 there and put 4 on. Where else do we say? Ann Lake seems like it has a lot of trees, but maybe Ann. We can start out sort of as a trial to see what the reaction is.
Ann Street, one side of it is city and the other side is not, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard, because the side that needs trees is the side that is not the city's.
that's where the city limit ends. On Ann, half of Ann is in the city. So the
not
far
south,
side-
not south of Lake. at
Not
all,
south
Cindy.
of Lake. though.
We're talking about
Yeah,
south. Of Lake.
south,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
we-
south of Lake.
Well, certainly if it turns out that we have neighbors who, to your point earlier, say, I really don't want a tree there, then of course other, if some of those bump down to the other side of Lake Street on Ann, sure,
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I think if we're sending a letter out to the homeowners to let them know a tree's coming and they do object, then do we have a backup list that we turn to?
Yeah,
Because,
well,
I think it is valid that they may not want a shade tree in their yard.
But it's
but then this takes me back to like the O'Briens who don't want that tree in the median, an existing tree in the median, and then
And we're saying you
we're
can't take that
saying
down.
you can't take it down.
Mhm.
So I don't
I
know.
think it-
I'm going in basis. I think it's a little different story, and we could be sensitive.
I think,
Yeah, and-
just, we need to make it part of the positivity of the fact that we have a tree, a tree plan for the city, and this is part of what we do. I think it's all part of this education process we're gonna have to, figure out and implement, and this is part of it. So we need to think of it as a positive thing, and we want the people in the area to feel like they're very fortunate to have this given to, not them, but it's going to be on their property. And maybe that's something they wanted to have anyway. It's just that I think they need to somehow be involved in the knowledge that this is happening and how these trees came about. I think it's so positive that 8 people have donated trees to the city in this way. So if we could turn it into a positive even, and not keep it
Yeah.
like sort of behind the scenes, but let it be, if we roll out a series of education in the Harbor Light, for example, or however we decide to do it, this can be part of that interjection of what the city is trying to do to be a tree city.
And the article could be, the city is embarking on beautification of the Layton Park neighborhood.
Mhm. Yeah.
That would kind of be overstated, well, I think the details, I'm sure Victor will go through a few drafts of this and maybe we'll look at some drafts of that letter along the way. But one of the things, and Karen, I'm not picking details with what you're saying, but one of the things we will be careful to say in the letter is not in your yard, but rather in the city right of way
Sure.
at
Right.
the edge of your yard.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
I think the main concern for people would probably be, then do I have to take care of it? So we need to let them know that.
Yes.
And I guess if you truly are not obligated to rake the leaves or cut the grass in the right of way, most people do it, but you are not legally obligated to do that. If some leaves blow on your lawn, then if you want your lawn raked, yeah, you gotta rake those up, but that can happen anywhere in town. I mean.
Well, this is kind of a silly philosophical question, but I mean,
Right.
if we put in, let's say, an oak tree and it litters acorns and leaves in their lawn, have we put a nuisance in?
Well, I guess the ultimate question for me here is, are we discussing the locations of these trees or revamping the delineated tree policy?
Right.
That's a good point.
I think that's where we're headed to right now. That's not the intent of this discussion.
Right.
If that's where we want to go, then, we can set up a separate discussion for that, but we have an existing policy and existing process. And right now, we're just executing that process by saying, here are some locations, let's plan.
I love these locations myself. I think it's way over time to do something up there. And I think we should try it and see what happens.
Yep.
If it isn't well received, people are upset, and we can regroup and change the policy if we have to. But I do think we should let them know we're going to plant a tree in front of the house. I think that's only polite
Right.
when you're going to do that.
Did we decide on species?
So what I'll do is for the next meeting, have a list of species, and exact precise locations with them, and then set sample letters.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that's great.
Becky and Karen, good with that?
Yes. Yes.
Brianna?
All right, and then move on.
Yes.
Item 2 is our tree city USA Arbor Day celebration and grant planting. So Kate Tuttle and Reed, as well as Ben, Billy, Lucas Banerjee, and Becky, the tree board, we went out and looked at the site, the spillway site here, about potential planting of trees and species, and et cetera. So the idea was to coordinate, we talked about the last meeting, an Arbor Day celebration, and we looked at the end of May, which would be that Friday or Saturday, and that is the Memorial Day weekend, so maybe Friday would be better, but I'm not sure. We can talk about that soon. However, the idea was to combine this grant planting. It required to have volunteers to plant those trees. And they make it kind of like a half a day event, the really grant coordinator comes up and they do their whole spiel and we get through the planet, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm thinking about combining those events on one day, and that way we can, kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. And with Ben, we chose, Becky was there as well as Kate, they required us to have several species. That's their grant stipulation, that you can't just pick one or two species. They wanted at least 5. So Ben supplied them with a good option of 6 or 7. I know we got the tree board members to solicit some input as well. And we narrowed it down to 5 from Ben's list, and they said they were going to order those trees. I think we put London Plant as a backup tree as well. So they're going to order those trees, and they just need to confirm what date we are going to do this. And I wanted to first confirm with the tree board, this celebration, as well as really grant planting. If you want to combine this one, if you want to do it that Friday the 28th or Saturday the 29th.
What day, is there a Memorial Day parade, and is it on Memorial Day?
Memorial Day parade is
It's usually the Monday.
it's usually
Okay.
Monday, and we haven't decided.
We haven't, that's why I thought that would just, we don't want it.
I like Saturday because kids can come in and people won't be at work.
Yeah, yeah, either Friday or Saturday. Friday, because of where we're doing it, the visibility of it for people coming into town is great. And Friday's kind of when they come into town, but if Saturday's the easier day to get people there, especially if it's kind of first thing.
Well, and for kids, they wouldn't be in school. I think Saturday might be, if we talked about doing something with the school kids, trying to involve them somehow.
If it was Friday though, they could have a field trip.
They could, school.
Yeah, or just if you started at 3, it's not.
Yeah.
They're kind of done.
Brianna, Becky, or Karen, any thoughts on what date? I know, Brianna, you have some connections with the school. they want to volunteer on a Saturday.
Are we still, we're talking about Arbor Day. I'm trying to get my screen back. For some reason, I lost all you guys. I think Adobe decided to try to do an update in the middle of the meeting and it just knocked me out.
Yeah, we were talking about what date we want to do our Arbor Day celebration.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had talked about either mid-May or Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And just,
could narrow it down to Memorial Day, either that Friday or that Saturday is kind of what we're talking about now. Friday the 28th or Saturday the 29th.
I think we're more likely to get people on Saturday than Friday. Or well, let me ask you, what are we actually going to do? Are we talking about donating these little saplings to kids in schools, or are we talking about trying to plant trees along the spillway? I mean, where are we with this right now? I'm not really clear on that.
All
So
of the
that's
above.
something.
All the above, okay.
It's there, yeah. So my intention was to plant the relief grant trees along the spillway, prepare some educational material about our tree plan, donate a tree, etc. Provide material for distribution, maybe about invasive species or anything that we want to talk about specifically. And also give away some saplings, like we talked about. So I think that would be enough for us to, I think it would be good timing too, because the relief grant requires us to have several volunteers there. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does preclude having a booth at farmer's market then, because there'd be better visibility there.
we could have a booth at farmer's market, but I don't know if it's gonna necessarily be incorporated into this event. Maybe we could do it beforehand or, well, when is the farmer's market start?
When does the market start outside?
It's May.
I think it's
May.
before
I
then.
think by,
I think
I think
mid-May.
Memorial Day weekend, there will be a market, I think. I mean, I don't know.
And then do we want to, we could have a table there and say, go pick up your trees at City Hall. Or we could,
Or we could have them right there.
we could have
We
the
could- I think
trees
we should
there
have
and we'd go visit our new trees we're planting at City Hall.
Hmm.
If we're gonna have a talk, it might get more people there if the trees were there.
You know what I'm really focused on is Relief wants us to have 30 volunteers. And so as far as like the whole Earth Day celebration, like I think that getting the volunteers is kind of the primary concern for me.
I've already talked to the NHS board and the advisors and everything, and we have a lot of volunteers, like students from our school, that are willing to participate. I've also talked to the principal of the elementary schools about sending out letters in the Friday folders about like creating awareness. And so if it was on Saturday, it could be more of like a family event where the kids can bring their parents with them. Also, I just wanted to say that like if we did it on Friday, if we were to take the kids out of school, I don't think it would be probably the best idea. But I think if it's Saturday, it would make it more of a family event. It would create a lot more like awareness and a lot more fun.
Good thoughts.
Well, that's very helpful. Thanks, Karen, because getting the letter out there to the students, they would get us a lot of volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could put an article or a note in the Harbor Light, maybe have Kate just make a note about it, that we're seeking volunteers on our website, on Facebook, talk to our friends, and I think between them, we can have,
Oh, yeah.
we should be able to get volunteers. At least the tree board will be out there.
Do we owe Relief a sign-up sheet that has 30 names on it? Is this a general idea that they
No.
pitched? So how important is it for us to know in advance that we've got 30 people?
They don't need to know in advance, really. They just, what they said was they like to keep it like a 3-4 hour event. The more volunteers you have, the quicker it goes. The fewer volunteers, the longer it takes. So their idea was that, the more volunteers, 30 volunteers would be good, would be done in a couple hours. The trees would be, a couple of people per tree would be done. What Lucas and our guys are gonna do is dig the hole beforehand. So they won't be digging the
Oh,
hole.
that's huge.
It's really just about getting
Yeah.
trees to plant them and, mulch them or whatever, whatnot. So Becky is right. They did, Kate did say 30 volunteers, but it's not a hard number. They don't need that number beforehand, but that's what they usually see and want at a planting of this size.
Well, from what Brianna has said, that's a reasonable, I mean, if we reach out to the kids and the parents of kids in school, it is unlikely we would fall below that.
Yeah.
So,
And we should also talk about how to publicize the seedling giveaway. Like, how do we know how many to
What's that?
order? Like to get giving away the little trees, like how do we know how many? Do people sign up ahead, or do we just get a bunch and hope we give them all away, or?
I think we get a bunch of them.
Yeah, where would we get those from? I know we had talked last time, Dan.
Yeah.
About where,
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be any problem, and I don't think they're gonna cost much
okay.
if we even have to pay for them. So, I'd be happy to take the lead on that.
So that was a question.
Yeah.
One of my questions was to have someone take a lead on this because I'm kind of busy, but also won't be here that week for a week and a half. So.
Yep.
It'd be nice to have someone on the tree board that has, I mean, Ben just on the chat here that, he'll be able to, let me say, he has equipment and himself, auger the holes like last time, of course, to move the trees. So we'll have Ben will be there, I can try to get another staff member to be there, but we definitely need someone to the lead. So if that's something we want to do, yeah, we can do it.
I'd be glad to, is there anybody else that wants to do it?
Because what I'll do, I can tell you what I can do. I can reach out to the newspapers, get out all the advertisements and get all those things ready for the website, for everything. Brianna said she can talk to the NHS and get that date there.
I can be the contact person for the person from Relief who's gonna come up and
Okay.
do the
Okay.
planting.
Deanna, I can work with you on this as well, whatever you need me to do.
Do we need a coordinator for day of?
If someone's gonna be here for the tree board, yes, we would love to want to be a coordinator, for the day of. But I know Becky, you had mentioned to me, I don't know if you're gonna bring that up here about working with the outfitter on donations, so can you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I thought if we wanted to, the company I work with could provide socks to the outfitter. We don't need to be mentioned in any way, but we could provide socks to the outfitter. And the outfitter could give socks to the first 30 people that planted trees or came to volunteer to plant trees if we wanted to have an extra incentive to get volunteers. It's the holiday weekend. And so I don't know how many people will be out of town or have plans for Saturday. And I thought that could be kind of an incentive to get more people to show up.
I think it's a nice idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and maybe I can get that over to like Brianna too, and we can put that in your, like, to NHS.
Yeah.
First 30 get socks. That'd be good.
And we can donate a pair of trekking poles. You don't have to mention us, but we can give that to the outfitter. We can do a drawing for a pair of hiking poles if you think that would be beneficial, because this is about being outdoors.
I think anything like that helps to
Yeah.
encourage people to be excited about doing it.
I like those ideas.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful, so I appreciate that. What I'll do is kind of send out an email, a follow-up email next week on kind of responsibilities and then we can take it from there, maybe, so we don't waste too much time here, just go over details. We'll have another tree board meeting, May, I don't know, it's like mid-May, it's going to be before this. So that we can finalize any details, but, yeah, May 14th. Yeah, so I'll do that, but then a few things else. Do we want to have food or drinks? I don't know if we need food, but we might want to have some snacks that we can buy. I don't know if you guys want to think about what might be a good snack. We got to be cognizant of COVID.
I was just
Right.
gonna ask,
Right.
outdoor regulations are still a big group of people at this point.
300.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem. Okay.
Yeah,
We could do water bottles and little juice boxes or something, and we.
I don't know if we want to, just need to go with water bottles because it's plastic. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, right.
I'm just thinking maybe water jug. I don't know. We do have the fountain right there. I'm just trying to think about ways to.
what about
balance
some,
it with environmental stuff.
what about something like, not snack bar, but like granola bars kind of things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Something that's easy for people to take with them. They can eat them on site if they want
That's a
to.
good
It's sort of a treat.
yeah. Do you think we could purchase those from Jib in summer for granola bars that she makes?
Well, that would be especially popular if she's up
Yeah,
for.
those are
That's,
so.
Yeah.
good.
My
Right.
sister's big shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm. Do you want me to
Is there-
ask her? Want me to ask her?
Yeah,
Sure,
that'd be
yeah, that'd
great.
be helpful, yeah.
All right. Do we have a budget if she wants to at least, pay for the cost of it? If we wanted to give her the money to at least cover her cost?
A few $100s, $200.
Okay.
How much it would cost,
Okay, I can see what she wants to do.
I don't know, but
I mean, how many people do we expect?
it also depends, if we're expecting maybe,
100?
well, I don't know if we expect that much, but let's go with the max, 100, but we don't want to
Right,
over,
right.
otherwise you guys run a lot of people.
No
Yeah,
complaints?
100 is a lot. That's a lot. I don't know if that would be,
I bet if we get 50
50 would be good.
I would
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
Not
because,
everyone will want something.
and there's nothing wrong with running out,
Yeah.
it just.
well,
it's
can we say
like-
that the first 30 people will get a pair of socks and enter a drawing for polls and also get a
Yeah.
locally made granola bar? So we kind
Yeah.
of limit the number, so the expectation isn't more than 30. And then if more people show up, we could have some, whatever grocery store brand.
Yeah, I can buy some, some goodies from the grocery store. as
I
well.
can make
Uh-huh,
So
sure.
there's-
these if we decide we want it.
Yeah.
So that's helpful, I'll take note of that and put that on, so thank you for checking that out.
Victor, do you or I want to call the farmers market people and see about a tent?
Hannah?
Hannah?
Yeah, it is. I can't find the beginning date and it was in the Harbor Light, but I don't.
I think it was the 15th
Of
of
May.
May.
Of May, so it's that,
If you could do that, that'd be helpful. Yeah.
Okay,
And see what it costs and what it takes.
we have a 10-foot canopy, Mulder's do.
Oh, that's great.
And we have like a Costco 6-foot table.
we have tables.
So we're talking about doing the sapling giveaway at the farmer's market the same day that we're doing the planting up here.
Yeah.
So we need someone at the table
Oh.
as well as,
I thought we were gonna give the trees away up here. At the same
I
which
think-
time.
one do we want to do?
I think we should.
I kind of like the idea of farmers market. There's a lot of people that'll be there that won't even know or think.
Well, if we talk about it ahead of time, maybe they could come to, the planning ceremony and get them there. Kind of draws them to a central place instead of, splitting them up between two places.
I'd
can
love
have-
to
Kind of my
see us do
feeling.
something- Yeah, I'd love to see us do something at farmer's market, but for this particular day, it would spread us thinner and
Yeah.
just make it
Yeah.
harder to transport the,
What if we made like a poster on easel, pick up your free tree and
that would be
I was
nice.
gonna say you could have an information table that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
maybe not even manned at the market
Yeah.
saying, come and join us from 10 to 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
Up
I
on the
like it,
hill
yeah.
and through the
Yeah.
free. I
Yeah.
think that might use it as a
Yes.
marketing tool, but not have to be there.
That's also a good point, yeah. I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dave.
Right.
good idea.
So, trees, 100, do you think?
Well, let me see, Ben, if you can hear us, I don't know if Ben wants to, I know we did the sample, but, I mean, I don't know if Ben.
Yeah, if Ben wants to do it, that's fine.
Ben, is that possible, something you can order, maybe like 100 saplings?
100 would be great. You can always give them,
So minus 100 sapling trees to give away.
you know, if we did get rid of them
Okay.
all.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm I'm standing on a job site. We can try to find seedlings that are, I mean, like a lot of the places where people get liners, we can get seedlings, but most of the stuff is shipped. Because everybody wants some bare root and they show up now. I can try to hunt around a little bit and see what we can find. Do we know what species we would prefer?
Good point.
I think a mix, unless that makes it complicated to order them.
I
Most,
think the
yeah.
trees that are going in here, maybe it's nice to repeat those trees as sapling.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, seedling.
Most trees, if we're gonna get them bare root as small plants, people are gonna want them to be, they're gonna want 100 of an order, right? So,
Yeah.
100 red oaks or something like that.
And just pick, and so then they'll come, bare root, and we would put them in a baggie with some dirt or something.
Yeah, we can get growth media. I mean, it's really easy to get grow media. It's just peat moss and vermiculite, but, and it'll keep them moist for the day if we do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ben, why don't we do this strategically, and you pick a species that's underrepresented in your city, and we give away those as saplings. It also will work nice on people's yards.
But do we want 100 of them? So maybe we pick 3 different kinds.
Oh, we
Or
have to
you're
order
saying,
them.
oh, that it has to be one kind.
Yeah, they won't really ship unless we go.
What do we do with, if we get 100, but we only have 30 people show up or 50 people, what do you do with the remaining plants? What'll happen to them?
Take them to the school.
We could take them, I don't know, we could-
Okay.
Nancy,
Right.
Nancy mentioned that we take them to school.
Yeah, good idea.
Could we, if we had extra trees, could we just take them down to the outfitter? Since he's gonna advertise this on social media anyhow, and he could hand them out to customers that day?
Yeah,
I
good
mean,
idea.
I think waiting till Monday could be a little rough on the trees, and maybe Josh could just find homes for them that weekend.
That sounds good.
We
Also
can,
great.
I mean, if we can get water to them, they'll survive in a pot for a while. We just need to be able to water them, but yeah,
Somebody could go down to the market with them too. If we do this in the morning and the market goes till 1, it used to, somebody could go with 20 seedlings and give them away.
Stand next to that table.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so I think we got almost everything covered. I'll do some promotions on the website, et cetera, and transition something NHS. Arbor Day proclamation, so I will go to council in mid-May. That's part of the USA Tree Standards certification, where you need just a proclamation. So we'll make a proclamation in May that our Arbor Day Fest is gonna be Saturday, May 29th. That's correct. Anything else you guys think I'm missing? Or that we're missing?
Well, I don't think this is only on, something that you have to focus on yourself, but I think it'd be really helpful to put together, as I said earlier, kind of a communication plan, how we roll this out. So it's kind of consistently presented to, our local residents, what this is about, what tree board is, what our plans are, what our focus is, what this means to the community. I mean, all the key points from the plan that you all put together, the tree plan. I think we just need to look ahead at, when we could schedule this rollout and what kinds of things we could either put through the Harbor Light or whatever way we want to communicate it. And I think Harbor Light might be the best option. So kind of looking down the road, feeding out, getting people to take some ownership and get excited about this plan and the benefits to the town they live in.
I can definitely when I get the summary out next week, I'll give you guys a summary with some whole plan that we forward.
Okay, great. Super.
Could we get a banner that we could put up at the top of the hill on our sign about Arbor Day, or is it not possible?
It's possible, but, think about how much money we're spending.
Well, I don't have any idea what
They
those cost.
usually $200.
Okay,
I'm just thinking about the size of the
okay,
event.
okay, maybe not. It was just a
We could
thought.
do it for future years.
It was just a thought of it's a good, that's the one place I noticed when I drive into
Yeah.
town.
If we're gonna have an annual Arbor Day celebration, then getting the kind of banner where it's Arbor Day celebration today,
Yeah,
and you can change the date so that it's reusable each year on that day. But
Maybe not
I
even.
think-
optional this year.
I think it should be smaller. though.
Okay, yeah, good idea.
You probably want to do it every year, so let's do it.
Okay. That's
That's, and plus, we don't, we want to make sure we know what our costs are when we do this, so like,
okay, that's fine.
it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's just a thought.
Okay, I think we're good on that, so I'll send next week, I'll send a summary of that, once all here for the really great input. And before we go to item 3, Chair, I just wanna, Ben, because you missed the first part of the conversation, the first agenda item, was that we looked at, Layton Park, and I had just some rough sketches of potential locations in Layton Park, but you're the expert, so what we agreed to was, if you could get us a final locations through Layton Park with final species, then what we would do is, I'll come back with a letter that will provide to the residents saying, hey, this is going to the city right away, and et cetera. So is that something you can do by next meeting then?
Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of feedback, and probably it's because I'm bouncing through a helmet. in Chestnut Valley Golf Course. But yeah, I think that's doable. I have some locations that I was thinking of that are mostly on the north sides of the blocks. And there's a few places on Lake Street where we could actually replace stuff. But same thing, we'd want to put them where there were trees already close to the school, if that's possible.
Well, if you can bring us back a final list of potential locations with species that, we'll look at it next, at the next,
Okay.
meeting. But thanks.
I just get one more thing about species for Arbor Day, to give away species. We could consider doing white pine as a state tree. And
Those
they're
seem
pretty
to,
easy to get going.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Those are pretty easy to grow from.
Yeah.
Teeny.
Okay, Ben, yeah, white pine is a suggestion that we have there as well, just the feelings. So, when you're looking, just think about that.
They should be cheap too.
The city's
Thumbs
got,
up from Ben.
the city's got so many white pines that are huge and old. We're starting to lose these old white pines, and they're an important species in the mix, to have in the mix,
Yeah.
but not street trees. So yard
Yeah.
trees is the way to do that, so that.
So
makes
that
sense.
is what could happen with some of these white pines. People may be cursing us in 20 years.
I'm gonna put it in. No, I'm kidding. All right, so item 3 on old business, this was, yeah, we're gonna follow up with a list of species, if I follow correctly.
Pardon me?
We're gonna follow up with a list of species of concern. Did you do that or not?
No, no, I didn't do that. So did we have the list we were working with last time? Or?
I thought we were gonna finalize the list. but,
Okay, I'm sorry. Nope, I completely forgot.
That's all right, no, we'll just. we can
Next
put it
week,
off for the
Or
next.
next time.
Yeah,
We
next
won't
week.
fire you. Promise. Please.
No, it's been a miscommunication in what we were doing, that's all. I just
I'm
don't
sorry,
wanna-
yeah.
Uh,
Getting 3 stars now.
That's all I have.
And tell me, the species of concern list that we're working from, was that something, where did that list originate?
I originated it, and then there were some comments about like, what about the ones that are used a lot in the landscape trade? I don't know, it's a kind of a difficult discussion, like, you know,
Yeah.
how, like,
Yeah.
on one hand, you could say box elder is, but then like, Ben or somebody was pointing out, well, it's a nice shade tree for some people, so I don't know.
It was, kind of the discussion went toward, it's more about, trees that aren't good for the right location, but they might be better
That's
for a
what it
different
was.
location.
Okay, that's what I-
Versus trees
that's
that
what I
are,
was
that are
wondering.
never a good idea
Yeah.
anywhere, like
Instead of
Japanese
having-
knotweed.
Exactly, instead
Yeah,
of having
okay.
the list is completely prohibited, it's more of a suggestion.
So it's gonna be a list,
suggested
trees
location.
for what locations? Trees
Yeah.
for driving. Okay,
And
yeah,
trees-
I will do that.
Trees to avoid no matter what.
Yeah.
Invasive species, really, but yes, that's,
Mhm.
then there was also a discussion about what we give to individual private residents, like, here's what we recommend, I know Nancy said we're not gonna tell them what they can and can't plant, but it was,
Right.
here's recommendations we have, when you
Yeah.
wanna plant a tree in your yard, or if you wanna, if it's next to your house, you might not wanna plant this kind of tree, because it's here. Then there's gonna be maybe another list for city staff, and we plant trees, and we decide what kind of species, but you know what, we already have enough, maple, we're not gonna do maple for the next, 5 years for us. Because we already have, do we wanna have that or not? Like Ben said, maple might go good, where there's no maple somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot, we don't wanna have a blanket prohibition, but maybe just a more narrow and defined list of what can go where and.
I'm happy to say it's all come back to me now.
Okay. A month and feel like a month.
Yeah.
All right, great, so we'll focus on that next time, then I guess chair, it's a new business.
Do we have any new business to bring before the board? And if not, I certainly don't have any objection to adjourning a few minutes early this week. Let Victor get back to his busy schedule, and all of you as well. It's been a really productive meeting, and I'm looking forward to the Arbor Day celebration.
Me
That's
too.
fine.
For sure.
Oh, here's a question.
It'd be
What if
great.
it's pouring rain?
Yeah, we'll have to,
Raincoats.
Yep,
yeah.
yeah, the tree
It
will
was
be here,
pouring
we'll
rain
have to
last
do
time
it,
we
yeah.
planted trees, so.
Then they
it
get
can be
water.
done.
It's okay, in City Hall, be open to go to the bathroom.
These doors are always open.
Okay, oh, right.
Is there a need for a short meeting between now and the 21st of May, just to make sure we're buttoned up for Arbor Day?
Yes.
We do have a meeting before Arbor Day.
But she's saying the 21st, is that soon enough?
Oh,
Yeah, I wonder if we need some between now and May 21 is what I'm asking, just to touch base to make sure we got it ready to
Can we
go.
do it on,
I think we can coordinate amongst ourselves, like if just two tree board members want to get together and talk about, hey, we gotta hammer down, this, promotion or whatever it is, I think we just talk to each individually. I think we basically,
Okay.
I'll give you guys a summary next week and then we'll take it from there and see.
An email's great. I mean, on a number of boards, when we're in between things, just
But you can't do a quorum email. right?
No, but you can
Yeah,
email
but
the
you
board
can-
member, you can email
Yeah.
one of the board member and say, hey.
what do you think about?
And copy Victor so he can. move it.
Don't ever hit reply all. Just
No,
don't
no,
ever
yeah.
hit reply all.
Yep.
I've learned that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, thanks, everyone.
that. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Great
Have
job.
fun, Karen.
Well, thank you. It's beautiful out here. That's all I'm gonna say. Thanks.
Don't say anymore.
Good job.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.